Hello everyone, welcome to another Fara carrier guide. Today we're talking about the Shokaku, the fifth installment of our IJN carrier series. Very similar to the American ones that we've done recently, we're making a playlist of a ship setup and guide on how to play Japanese carriers. In this element we're going to be talking about the Shokaku, so without further ado let's get straight into it. Here we are with our Shokaku. Now Shokaku is very similar into the Hiryu in that it's 222. And just before we get started we're going to talk about modules, upgrades, exterior for the ship, signals, camouflage, and the captain spec, the captain build that I personally play, and then we'll go into a random battle and we'll showcase how I would play the ship. So, that being said, under modules you get the Shokaku as 122. So the first upgrade I always do with the module wise is get the upgraded second fighter. So upgrade the flight Type 8 Mod 2 to get the second fighter plane. There is a second flight control module, which is the last thing you get in terms of the upgrades. This is 312. 312 is rarely used in ranked gameplay, but in competitive gameplay 312 is usually the standard format. Some teams try to use 222, but competitive and the tier 8 match making, it's usually 312, King of the Sea and all that type of stuff. And since tier 8 is the sort of quasi clan ranked sort of meta, then that's where it comes into play. But if we're playing ranked, then not 312, usually 222, because there isn't that level of cooperation and anti-air type of things, because carriers are so rare in ranked gameplay. So, first upgrade, definitely get up to 222, then upgrade your fighters to tier 8, then upgrade your torpedo bombers from tier 6 to tier 8, that's a huge upgrade. Dive bombers come last, and then in terms of planes, and then the hull. And then the hull just basically gives you kind of more AA and that type of stuff. In the ammunition consumables, it's tier 8, so we now have defensive fire. If you want to buy the second one, that's fine. Normally someone doesn't try to attack you more than once, so I've never actually ever had to use 2 charges of defensive fire, but it's nice to have in the cooldowns there, etc., in case it turns into a long game. The damage control party 2 I take as well. I just don't like being attacked, and the activation time of 30 seconds is very nice, but the cooldown is what I'm after in case somebody tries and stretches out the number of attacks I get, or maybe I'm getting attacked by multiple people. I want a maximum carry, so I'll take all the benefits I can get. Under upgrades, it's the exact same as all the previous carriers. Air Group Mod 1, that allows us to have more damage on our guns, specifically our fighters. In terms of our second module, we're going to reduce the chance that we're put on flooding, or put on flooding, receive flooding damage, or put on fire. Putting on fire basically prevents our carrier from landing and taking off planes. It's quite bad. Third upgrade, we take Air Group Mod 2. This allows us to have more fighter ammunition, very important for scouting and MAA, very important for clicking and duels, all the likes. Having more health is always a good thing. Ammunition allows more strafes, more extra strafes, endurance to last longer without having to come back and land. Fourth item is Damage Control System Mod 2. This reduces the time that we're on fire. Usually if you're on flooding, you've got a damage control party anyway, but on fire you can actually wait for fires to run out. For the last skill, we take Concealment System Mod 1. This will just bring the stealthiness down. There's no real point in taking target acquisition on the Shokaku. In terms of exterior, in signals, these are the combat signal setup. So we take AA to maximize our self-defense. We take speed to go fast. We take flooding, and then we take flooding and fire. It's because we have 2 sources. We have flooding sources from torpedo bombers and fires from our dive bombers. If you want to... since we've only got 4 signals per ship on a carrier, you can drop the speed, you can even theoretically drop the A signal if you've got the defensive fires, and you can go with some economic and special signals, and you can even theoretically drop the fire and flooding signal and then go with any of the other special signals as well if you like. But I always say at least keep the torpedo flooding signal for 15%, that's very, very important. Camouflage, it's up to you. Take a ship experience 1, ship captain experience 1. I have a 19-point captain, so I'll be taking experience 1, but in this particular element I've got a fancy camo, so I'm going to put on the Great Gorgon, because it's really cool, and if you've got it, why not? In terms of the captain setup, now, the Shokaku has reasonably quite good long-range AA guns. If for any reason you are under attack, or someone's spotting you, you need to defend yourself, this particular setup is just like the Hiryu. It is a ranked / competitive setup that's slightly less effective in randoms. If I was playing random battles exclusively, we would not take basic fire training, we would take torpedo armament expertise. That being said, first skill is always aircraft servicing expert, followed by torpedo acceleration. We got 2 torpedo bomber waves, we're going after fast destroyers. I find the torpedo acceleration is more effective. If you're on a single torpedo bomber wave, then maybe you would go with adrenaline rush instead. For the 3-point skill, as we mentioned, I take basic fire training to fire training to synergize with our anti-air. You can, however, take torpedo armament expertise if this is your main Japanese carrier captain and you don't have a second one. If you have a Kaga, you're definitely wanting torpedo armament expertise, so having a captain that can swap back and forth is useful. For the 4th point, we always take air supremacy. That's the extra fighter planes, the extra dive bombers. More fire planes is, you always take skills and abilities that increase the number of fire planes or increase the health so you can get air control. The extra dive bombers is also kind of nice because you can scout more and you can more chances of hitting something, but it's mainly for the fighters. For the 11th point, we take dogfighting expert. This, you're not going to come across higher tier planes in a tier 8 bracket. Everything's down tiered, not up tiered. However, there are sometimes catapult fighters that are tier 10. No, because you're Shokaku, you're going to be thrown into tier 9, 10 matchmaking, so you will come across catapult fighters. So having a dogfighting expert there is useful. It's mainly for the ammunition and for the strafes, which is why we take dogfighting expert. The remaining 8 points to get up to 19-point captain. You don't need concealment expert because you're already 10.8. You're perfectly in the nice little sweet spot in terms of detectability goes. You don't want it any less because if a destroyer comes in to your ship detection range, you want to know that you are ship detected so you can then deal with it appropriately with your planes and spot and get assistance. So in that respect, I take advanced fire training. That pushes up the long range guns up to 6 kilometers, but also importantly, it pushes the light AA guns up to 3.7, and this is what the defensive fire works off. The defensive fire works on the Japanese carriers off the light AA armament, so it's going to work. It's going to cause the panic effect at 3.7. The manual fire control for AA armament. This will also then double the damage when I click on a particular plane. It will damage the damage of the long range guns, and we have 107 damage on our long range guns. Double that, so that's already what 214, and then add in the multiplier for clicking on a plane. It's I think it's like 1.3, so another times that 214 by 1.3, and you get the kind of an active number. Now, if you're being chased or if you're being attacked by bombers, that level of self-defense AA is really, really high, and you will pick off torpedo bombers, dive bombers, that type of stuff who are trying to kill you. So it's excellent self-defense. Or if there's a spotting dive bomber or a catapult plane that's within 6 kilometers of your AA range, you will snap away. One of the techniques that some people do in ranked or competitive is they use their dive bombers, they drop the payload and use them in the scouting role. They'll scout the enemy CV, see if he can get some long-range pot shots from his friendly battleships to shoot him. If that guy comes in within 6 kilometer range, you'll do damage. Or maybe there's a dive bomber that's flying around the map and he's avoiding your fighter. If you can get it so that dive bomber's running away from your fighter into your AA bubble of your Shokaku because he's trying along the south border, so you move the CV so that the CV's aura is inside the edge of the map, then he's been chased by the fighter, he will go into your AA bubble, you kill off that dive bomber with your AA, or he'll fly away into your fighter. So it's very useful in a ranked, competitive, and even random scenario to have strong anti-air to complement your 2 fighters. So that's the captain build. Now, who's the opposition Shokaku? Well, the Lexington is a 1-1-2. Now, the single fighter is not going to compete well against the Shokaku's 2 fighters because you have more map presence. You can click on one, you can exit strafe. You don't have to worry if you have a bad engagement with one fighter because you still have the second one giving assistance. So the Lexington definitely struggles in that sense. Against the Enterprise, which is another tier 8 fighter, the Enterprise fighters, if they click on your Shokaku fighter, the Enterprise will win that click-on battle. So you need to be aware of not going into a click-on duel with the Enterprise, just like you wouldn't click on realistically with the the Lexington either. You want to strafe or kind of exit strafe, or you want to engage the Enterprise's fighters on your terms, because the Enterprise's fighters are tier 7, yours are tier 8, yours are faster, yours are tankier. Lure him into any form of AA and you will win the fight so fast, because his planes are only competitive because of dogfighting expert. They are fragile in enemy anti-air. Your anti-air, basically, or your friendly. We don't know too much currently about the Graf Zeppelin, so I'm not going to talk too much about that as a counterpart to Shokaku. Needless to say, though, if the planes are tier 7 and they click on you, it's about roughly a 50-50 fight in the current sort of setup. We'll see how that turns out. Anyway, that being said, let's go into a random battle and play against nothing but tier 10s, because that's basically what happens these days now in a tier 8 carrier. We play nothing but tier 10 battleships and cruisers. And then if that happens, then, you can see how I play against them. Oh yeah, and also at tier 8 games, you no longer get double mirror carrier games. You only get 1 enemy carrier, so that's a slight bonus. Oh, what a surprise! Tier 10 carrier game! Woo! Happens all the time now. The matchmaking needs to be tweaked. Anyway, right, what do? We're against a Lexington, so we know he's 1-1-2. which means our 2 fighters are going to basically gimp his 1 fighter. If we just have both click on him, he loses, but we can more so we want to work with the strafe mechanic. We need to be careful of the Lexington trying to punch into our fighter planes with a strafe to kind of balance the odds. Yamato has reasonably low A, we could attack him. We don't want to attack the Iowa, the Missouri, because they've got strong A values. The Friedrich we can attack. None of the cruisers are good. Hipper could have a defensive fire, but he's the least crap target to go after. Z-52 and the Yugumo, they are good bombing targets. So if we want to help our team, we go Yamato or we go Z-52 Yugumo at the beginning. We got lots of ships on our side. The Lexington AP bombs are good against the Minotaur and Hindenburgs, I think. Maybe the Donskoy? I honestly can't tell, but he's going to have a hard time going after anything here. This is more bad for the Lexington than it is the Shokaku. Right. We'll get our fighters first. There's no rush on the torpedo bombers. There's no rush flying out here at all. What we could do is we could do like a dive bomber first, drop the payload, and then fly off in the spot. But ultimately, I want to keep the dive bombers to go after destroyers. So I want to keep the whole payload. There's not a rush to go out and spot. If you're playing a ranked or competitive scenario, you may probably launch 2 dive bombers first, drop both dive bombers, and then go scout either side of the map. Avoiding, and then just to see where's the team going, where's their composition, how are they approaching the map, where's the enemy planes, that type of stuff. Because your bombers, once they drop the dive bombers, when they drop their bomb load, are faster than the enemy fighters at tier 8. With our fighters, I'm not going to be scouting too much into the enemy bubble because I don't want to fly into AA bubbles. I don't want to, some tricky little people, they turn their AA off, they wait till your plane flies into the air detection range, then they turn their AA on and the defensive fire. It kills off the entire plane wave before you're even able to click on them, let alone tell them to fly outside the AA bubble. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to do general cover for our destroyer for the time being, and we'll just loiter around the south here. And we'll get our bombers up around the Kagero. We know that the enemy's got 2 DDs, and we're waiting to see, does any of these 3 capture points start capping for the enemy team or become contested if we're capping it? And if so, that means it's probably the destroyer there. Can we then get in before the cruisers get close enough to harass us? And that's our opening game plan at the moment. Okay, so we're capping C. Shimakaze doesn't want to go in A, he doesn't know what's there. There's the Hindenburg. That could be a problem. He's probably too close now anyway. If we want to go C. C is not being contested. Yes, it is. Right, it's just become contested. So we know that at least 1 destroyer is now in C. Quite a strong force going down A, so we really can't really go down to that. I'm wondering if I could test whether or not the Hindenburg has a defensive fire. Now I could use the dive bombers to do that. I will lose planes. If he doesn't have, the thing is, he might not defensive fire dive bombers either. He might just save the defensive fire for torpedo bombers. Hindenburg without defensive fire is vulnerable, like all the tier 10 cruisers. Ooh, Neptune is back. Whoa, 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 whoa. The Z-52 is super aggressive. That's way too aggressive for him. Now, I know we're losing planes from the Neptune and pull the fighters back very, very quickly. We are going to make sure this guy does not escape. Okay, boom. The torpedoes were more of an insurance policy. It was a guarantee that he died. The guy played way too aggressive. I probably didn't need to spot him or guarantee to go attack, but it guaranteed the kill, and that's all that really matters. Lost a few planes primarily to these guys, probably the Neptune, but we'll load everything back and then we'll move along. Now, let's look at the rest of the game. What's happening? Where's the Lexington? Haven't seen his planes. Don't know where they are at the moment. What's vulnerable? Well, nothing here. The Izumo is technically vulnerable, but there's a Hindenburg nearby, so he's usually kind of okay. Kurfürst has got a Hindenburg on either side, so he should be okay as well. Enemy destroyer probably on A, the last one, the Yugumo. Minotaur, St. Louis are probably fine. These 2 Freds, if I was the enemy Lexington, these are what I'd go after. They don't have a defensive fire, they don't have any kind of assistance. These are the vulnerable guys. And the Shimakaze as well, but I can't protect him. He's screwed, probably. I mean, everyone here should just turn around and chase him. I can't do anything for that. Now, what I could do is probably going to keep the fires over here, just in case. If the enemy Lex does try to go after me, which seems really foolish, I'm thinking I might go at least this way at half speed. And then maybe turn around and go like that. Now, dive bombers. Oh, it's the Hindenburg capping. I don't want to go into B just yet. The Minotaur. You have to be careful about being torp. He's only got his nose guns. Hydro on the Hindenburg is going to be a problem as well. So the St. Louis might try and back him up. If I can get the bombers ready, I'll try and help with this Hindenburg. Yeah, so we knew the torps were incoming. Good beats. Oh, double Hindenburg. Well, now the Minotaur's got a problem. I don't think I can help that. Yeah. Get some torps off, but I'm not going into double tier 10 German cruiser AA with only tier 8 planes. Torps. Okay, so Hipper? No, Hipper's over there. Hinden. Could be Hipper. I haven't seen the Hipper yet, actually. Don't think it's enemy Yukomo. We can go have a look. I don't know where the enemy carrier is. Even if he could just be waiting, or it could be AFK. Who knows? I'll still keep one fighter protecting these guys, and then I'll have the other one maybe come over here. Double American battleship. We're not gonna get any meaningful damage. They'll just heal it or repair it. Is the enemy Lexington AFK? If he is, I'm going to be really cheap here and just go for him. It's not exactly... Oh, I don't look a gift in the mouth, as it were, but... So get best possible scenario. It does look like he's AFK. So we've got 4 fires. We'll do a maximum range drop so that we don't suffer any AA losses. And then we'll just leave. And this is where he damage controls and goes forwards and turns and invests the whole kill. Like, if you really wanted to guarantee the kill, you probably should just go in close and finish it off. But, yeah. We just wanted to make sure he, you know... we assumed he was AFK. There's no planes. Nothing's happening. Okay. Who knows what that was all about? Well... Maybe he just said, oh, look at this matchmaking, screw this, and gave up and threw his desk and ran away. I wouldn't blame him. Okay, so we know that the enemy team is down 3 ships. Missouri, Iowa's in the north, so we can probably go this direction for now-ish. But we'll only go at quarter speed. The planes have quite a long turnaround, which is why I'm thinking trying to get closer to the battle. We don't have to worry about enemy fighter planes or enemy bombers, so we can now use our fighter planes in a more scouting role. So I'm actually going to send this fighter plane in front to watch for Yugomo torps, even if we start losing plane losses. Is not that important as it was before. Looks like Hydro or Radar is spotting the Yugomo, so I encourage everyone to shoot him, please. There's Izumo and the Lewis is about to go. The Yugomo's down though, so Donskoy might be able to cap B. Still a losing game though, that's the problem. Oh, and the Donskoy's turning broad. Oh, well, you got lucky because the torps ran out. What can I do here? Well, anything that isolates itself. That Fred, for example, is isolated. The Yamato is still too close to this Hindenburg, can't go after him. Hipper, it's not really superly helping. The Iowa, the Missouri, if they split up, that might help. We know they're going to come down, so there's a time limit on here. These 2 battleships, I guess they're operating at their effective range. Like, the thing is, if the Hindenburg leaves the Yamato, he's also a vulnerable target, and we may even be able to fire flood damage him, you know, 1 of each wave, and then see if we can't trigger damage control power, then follow up with another fire flood. Alternatively, it's Fred pushing the center as a target. We could go for him. The Missouri is actually pushing quite aggressively here. His AA is uncomfortably high. Actually, we're going to turn around and go this way now. So I don't want to get ship spotted or pushed in by him. So there's the Iowa. They're separated, but it's awkward. No, the Hindenburg's going to be a mission. I think, you know what? We're going to have to go for the Missouri. Like, the Fred is an easy target. We could totally kill him, but who's more of a threat? The guy in the behind or the guy in the front that everyone's paying attention to? And it's the Missouri at the moment. There's only one way we're going to kill him. We're not going to alpha strike him. We're going to have to bleed him out. So let's try, shall we? I'm going to use the fighter as a, hey, click me instead thing. I'm going to keep these guys waypointed up so they don't fly into the Missouri's AA. And then the goal here is to get this torpedo bomber in as quickly as I possibly can without losing a plane. Okay, so one fire. Pull them back. Put him over here and over here. Flood, 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 flood. On the nose. Good, flooding. Right, boom. He will damage control that. Watch the damage numbers. Right, he's done it. So 20 seconds, okay? So when it gets to 9:30, he is vulnerable for a follow-up attack. How do we get the torpedo bombers in? Do we go this way or do we go that way? We have to go this way. So let's get into position now. Because he's beached himself. Right, so we need to go around. Let's go. Every moment that we are wasting time not getting attack in here, it's time where he's not on fire or flooding. So there goes that. This is not the best approach, I'll give you that much. And this is the problem with it. Okay, we get two. Did we get a fire? I honestly couldn't see. Doesn't look like it. Flood the nose. Flood the nose. Urgh, damn it. Okay, so Missouri doesn't die. Like, if he is flooding, he would die. And this is why you really want those flood signals, because as a tier 8, we couldn't alpha strike him. We're not going to kill him everything we've got. And he's going to survive, which is frustrating. Now, if we go back and attack him again, we're just punishing damage. We're not actually his damage control party will be ready again. I mean, we winded him, yes. Hindenburg's might be able to do something about it. He was capping. We reset caps a few times. Now that his health pool is as it is, the best thing we can probably do is just hit him with everything we've got and kill him off outright. And provided he doesn't heal back up from 28k, best thing we can do is just attack him with everything. It's taking an impact on our plane reserves, and there's plenty of other targets to go after. We are somewhat reliant on our team helping. Like, don't go round the corner. In fact, we can't drop him. Can we drop him? That is close. That's actually at the limit, I reckon. No, that's too close. Alright, boom. We'll go all the way around. We'll take our time here. Ah, for God's sake. Do we go after him or do we go after the Iowa? And I think we have to go for the Iowa, because he's coming from behind. These guys will deal with him. They don't need to push. Oh my god, I couldn't get there if I wanted to. Right. Same process. Iowa has more health. So we're going to go partial drops. See how he's turning around this way, so we'll drop him from that way. Unless he's turning back in again. I think he's turning back over another torpedo bombers, which was bad, because the angle here isn't the greatest. 2 fires. Well, good luck. Okay, does he damage control party? We could actually maybe... Yeah, we can have to strike him. There's no point... the thing is, if I waited in like an extra 10 seconds, I definitely would kill him with the damage over time, but I don't want him healing. Oh no, no, no! Come on, finish him, finish him, finish him, finish him! Thank you! Okay, so that's those 2 American battleships done, and wow, I have no idea what's happening in the rest of the map. So, we might actually win this game, surprisingly. 141,000 damage in a tier 10 carry. Selective choice of targets, I guess. Oh, we gotta... What's the cap? Okay, so clockwise, if they get B, run away, and we don't push into B, and we'll spot them with the fighter, they could win this. So I'm going to turn around. It's unlikely I'm being chased, so I will push into the enemy as fast as I possibly can. Right, we'll spot here with our fire plane. Try and keep it outside of his mid-range AA. Just see it on the extreme range. Ideally, we'd want to be between him and our ships. Oh, there's the other Hindenburg. Don't want to fly, so I'm going to waypoint here so he doesn't fly like in a big circle inside the mid-range AA. Now, odds are he is probably not paying attention to our planes. He's probably paying attention to the ships above him. No guarantee. So if he's like looking that way, you know, basically away from us, if we bomb him from behind, he may not click on us. He isn't going to turn the camera around. Oh, yes, he's broadside anyway, so he's going to get wrecked. Okay, that solves that problem. So now we've got a single ship left. We're going to see if we can bait a defensive fire. I don't think we can top her in that narrow channel at the moment. He has to pass here, so we're going to have to drop him from this direction, which he's going at full speed, so we could probably do that. Even with a defensive fire, we'd still hit him with enough torch to kill him. Alright, here we go. Boom. Nice. Oh. So, it was disappointing that the enemy carrier didn't want to play, but he would have had just as much difficulty as we did, at least in the beginning. And I think we would probably got a heck of a lot more. Well, we didn't get any plane kills. We would have got a lot of plane kills had we had someone to play with. But in terms of the tier 10 ships, we got 150,000 damage. We got 2 kills. We got some saves. But even though you've got 3 plane waves and you can select, you've got a lot of kind of more reserves than you did before in this bracket. You are against 9 and 10s. You need to be selective. You can't just go in and attack. Blah. No, you can't. You'll just lose your planes, and then you'll be bled dry in the first half of the game, if not the first third of the game. So what you got to do in this instance is you have to be patient. You have to wait. Well, where are all the cruisers? Where are the destroyers? Can I go after the destroyers? If not, can I spot for my team? To give them assistance while you're waiting, being patient. Then do the team split up. Now in this particular instance, we knew that the Missouri and the Iowa were together, and so long as they stay together, the combined AA is far too high for a tier 8. Even a tier 9 or 10 carrier, you're going to lose planes if they focus fire the torpedo bomber, so you're going to get any meaningful damage. But as soon as they split up, it actually let us try to do bleed tactics, where we damage them over time. To try and kill them off, rather than just hitting them and taking off maybe a third or half their health, and then they can heal it and regenerate. We want to kill them off, and that's what the damage control trick was for, and it sort of kind of works. Sending the dive bomber in first means that they might kill some AA guns, and then the torpedo bomber survives a little bit longer. But ultimately, the risk about sending them in individually is that a single torpedo bomber going in is going to be the one that's going to be focused, and if he gets killed off, then fewer torps drop, which means there's fewer chance of connections, fewer alpha damage, and less chance of flooding. And it's the flooding that really triggers the damage control party. The fire and the flooding forces it, I must damage control party, and then the follow-up kills them off. So that's why we take the signals that increase the flooding chance, because getting a flooding is huge. It definitely kills ship that you wouldn't normally be able to kill with the bleeding tactics. But anyway, these are things you're probably going to have to learn. You'll probably find that the sheer volume of people who have leveled a ship up to tier 10 and play in the 9-10 bracket means that when you play tier 8 carriers, you are not going to be with 6, 7, 8s. Practically all your games are going to be 8, 9, 10s. You might have an intermix, some down, some up. Vast majority will tier 10 games in the carrier, so you need to be prepared for that and have patience. More than anything, patience, waiting for the team to separate, waiting for people to isolate themselves, outplaying the enemy carrier, and then going after what your target is. If you have more questions about the tier 8 carriers, or you want to know more about the Shokaku, please do ask me in the comments below. I could talk about the thing for hours and we're not getting anywhere. Anyway, that being said, if you haven't watched the previous videos in this sort of kind of guiding list for Japanese, I've already covered the Hosho, Zuho, Ryujo, Hiryu, and now Shokaku. You can go ahead and watch them. And coming up next is the Taiho, and then after that we'll do the Hikuru. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.